From the far reaches of the Milky Way galaxy, it's Retro Nerd Girl with a film review for you. Today, I'll be reviewing the movie Bedazzled, released in 2000, starring Brendan Fraser, Elizabeth Hurley, and Frances O'Connor. Directed by Harold Ramis. The synopsis is, Elliot Richards is a computer technician customer service rep at a company by the name of Cynodyne. He is secretly in love with Allison Garner, who works at the company. He's flubbed every single chance he gets to make a good impression on her and hopes that a deal with the devil can get him his girl. The story. This is a remake of an excellent 1967 film with the same title. The story is a Faustian tale wherein the devil approaches the protagonist with 7 wishes for his soul in order to get the girl of his dreams. Harold Ramis commented in a Charlie Rose interview in the year 2000 that he wanted to create a departure from the original as much as possible so it could stand on its own. And for many people who never saw the first movie, it does. But for others that have seen the 2 movies, the remake is sacrilege. But also, too, there weren't very many of the original team members to consult with. Peter Cook passed away and Dudley Moore was rather sick at the time. Harold said that one of the biggest differences that he wanted to show was not just the environment that changed, but that the protagonist changes as well every time he made a wish. And you can really see that with all of the emotional and physical character transformation, which gave the film a very fun twist. There was some homage to the original 1967 film. The devil dogs on the beach scene are named Dudley and Peter in reference to the writers and the stars of the original. The glasses worn by the devil when she and Elliot are on the bus are similar to those worn by Peter Cook in the original. The devil gives Elliot a business card to prove that he or she is in fact the devil. Hilariously, the devil also makes the protagonist pay for their first wish. And lastly, both devils run a nightclub and files away the contract that Elliot has signed in an oversized filing cabinet. Now the pacing. At an hour and 33 minutes, it's pretty good. No complaints. The challenge. The challenge begins with Elliot's life, not being liked by his coworkers and not being able to get the attention of the girl he likes. So the biggest challenge is the protagonist. In order to fix it all, the devil offers a solution: 7 wishes for his soul. One of the reasons why many people didn't like the differences between the first film and the remake is that people weren't happy with the gender swap of the devil. However, I thought it was appropriate because Elliot is a special character that needs a little extra push to be tempted to give up his soul. The devil is an illusion of temptation, which has chosen the physical presence of a gorgeous, witty woman. She also uses the illusions of sexual imagery as a tool by dressing up in very obvious sexually charged male fantasy costumes. And this is a presentation that Elliot cannot refuse. In addition, the devil shows Elliot the relationship he desires with another illusion. All of this is part of the wooing of her victim to keep him wishing, because Elliot must use up all of his wishes in order to lose his soul. If he stops wishing, she's got a big problem in her hands. No deal, no soul. So she's very convincing whenever he's getting wise to the idea that he shouldn't wish anymore. And she has very clever comebacks when he argues against the idea of continuing any further. And even when times are tough and Elliot is resisting the hardest, she'll even resort to fake tears if she has to. I think that's pretty brilliant. The devil's devious intentions are pretty prevalent when Elliot returns to her nightclub, only to see that the club is filled with lost souls reveling in the illusion of the life that they've always wanted. That's the devil's goal. It's pretty cut and dry. She just wants another soul to fill up her club. I love the concept of the film, but I also love this character, and I love the idea that we get a nice, juicy female that's not afraid to be sexy and not afraid to be fun at the same time. My empathy. My empathy was really not there in the beginning. I feel as if Elliot is not very relatable in the beginning of the film. He's friendless, he's depressed and socially awkward. So naturally we should want to care for him and want to see the best for him. But in this particular incarnation of Elliot, he's really a caricature. He's not even a real kind of personality. I've never seen or interacted with a person like this, and I've been around a lot of people. Not to say that it's not possible that there's someone out there like this, but he's very unrealistic as a character. And what makes him really unlikable is the fact that even though he's socially awkward and he's trying to make friends, he's very, very pushy and very unmindful of how offensive he's being to other people, to the point of being a jerk. Now, the people he's trying to be friends with aren't very good people or aren't very nice people to begin with. So I get that point in the movie. They're all pretty much jerks too. But Elliot isn't doing himself any favors with his behavior. But I have to say this, because he's not a likable character, it's kind of fun to see him get these really terrible wishes and get into so many weird situations with them. I suppose if he was too likable, it wouldn't be as funny. So I guess it actually works in the benefit of the jokes that you get throughout the film. You know, you do want to see him wise up a bit by the end of the film, and he does. He actually becomes more grounded and more likable as the tone of the film also turns a little bit more serious as well. Elliot has a rough time with his wishes, and he realizes the moral of his life test is that he has to be the change that he wants to see in the rest of the world. If he wants his world to change, he has to change. There's no easy way around it. And you get the sense that from his experience, Elliot has become aware and mindful about what's happening around him. So he's basically able to pick up on simple little clues that let him know that people aren't being as sincere as they should be. And I really like that. Now, the technical aspects. The star of this film are the many makeup transformations to indicate the changes within each wish. I absolutely love them and appreciated them a lot. I also appreciated a lot of the scenic imagery in the film. Even though the green screen work is a little jarring and doesn't quite work out, it's very dated and doesn't hold up over time, but it still works to tell the basic plot of the story. So I've seen a lot of bad green screen work, and this isn't the worst. Brendan is amazingly playing all of these characters and is leading this film beautifully. They're all vastly different, and he really displays his dynamic as an actor. You just get the sense that he's having a lot of fun doing this. Elizabeth Hurley is absolutely gorgeous and mesmerizing in this film, playing the bad girl all too well. It's just such a delicious character, and she does it so well. And not to mention, she is in fabulous shape. Now, Frances O'Connor is brilliant in this film, keeping up with Brendan with all of the many characters. And in each of these wishes, she manages to keep the character of Allison, but also makes it a little bit new, tailored to the wish. It's very difficult to do this, and she just does it very well. And Frances also had an extra character to play as Elliot's eventual girlfriend, Nikki, who is much more of a match to him than Allison, and I thought she pulled that character off beautifully. All of the actors were incredibly talented and helped to translate the transformations in each wish so wonderfully. I loved it all.
The best part of the film: the transformation of all of the characters for each wish, and Elizabeth Hurley's performance as the devil was my favorite part of the film. If you haven't noticed, as I've been raving about this, she looks like she's having so much fun playing this role, and the film itself is enjoying itself, poking fun at the biblical implications of temptations by having the devil dress up as different characters, especially when it has her dress up as an angel.
If you notice, there are lots of red apples that appear several times in the film, representing the temptation that is represented in the Garden of Eden. It's the ultimate symbolization of temptation. In a way, Allison is Elliot's Eve. She's the bait to get him to bite the apple. It just all are little small details that really gives me like huge chuckles as I watch this film. Now, my wish list. I don't really have much to say about any particular changes I wish that the film had. Now, the ending. I love the ending. It's a feel-good film, and so it really works for me. And the one thing to note about this film is how it starts off really funny and slapsticky, and then it ends on a very somber note where you actually feel like the character has been through so much and now he's a better person because of it. Enjoyment. Okay, if you haven't noticed, I love this film. I know that there are a lot of people out there who dislike this film and prefer the original released in 1967. I thought it was really good. I actually enjoyed the difference between the two films because they really stand as time capsules for the year of their creations. And one thing that we have to remember about the film is that it's a comedy, and the comedy too is really a reflection of its time. I felt like the comedy really comes from the twist that the devil really puts on these wishes, where it's kind of like you get what you ask for. It's like an inside joke. Every time he wishes, he actually gets what he wishes for, but it's twisted in some way that it just kind of makes me, I don't know, the idea is really fun for me, and I think it's a lot like life in a way, when you ask for something or you dream of something, and then when you finally get it, it's not exactly what you intended. Anyway, to me it's a fun, cheeky, light comedy with a moral antidote, which, you know, it's actually a trend of Harold Ramis's films. They're funny in the beginning and they get more serious by the end. And it's not for everyone, but I just enjoy that combination so much. A good example of that is the movie Groundhog Day, released in 1993. Had the same exact thing. Starts off really funny and then ends really seriously.
To me, Bedazzled is a perfect guilty pleasure.
My rating is an 8.5. Well, that sums up my review. I hoped you liked it. This is Retro Nerd Girl signing off. Take care, movie lovers. I'm off to my next review.